God Valley is suffering from success. Think about it. God Valley, Ultimate Chapter reveal. An insane moment that involves Emperors of the Sea, that involves Roger, that involves Garp, and this man known as Rox D. Zebek, a man who knew the truths about the world. Ever since then, God Valley has been put on a very high pedestal for flashbacks to come. We knew we were going to get a God Valley flashback. It was going to be nuts bonkers, just considering the players involved and the importance of these players and the history of the world itself. How this paradigm shift was hidden from the rest of the world, veiled over for almost 40 years, to the point where Sengoku himself had to tell the Marines in that room what the deal was. And we got more snippets of that during the Kuma flashback on Agate Island, which was very enticing. So we moved on from the taste test in the Ultimate Chapter to the Kuma flashback, where we got the appetizer. And my goodness, it was an insane moment, and the apps were looking delicious. Big Mom taking the power away from Ivankov. Beforehand, the Rocks Pirates in full force. Then seeing the Roger Pirates in full force. Then seeing the Holy Knights also mobilized to try and fight against the pirates. This app was delicious, only elevating what was to come in our minds, the main course. And here we are in Elbaf, and Oda is giving us what I think is the main course. Now, there's a possibility, hear me out here, where we do get more of this God Valley content in the future, but let's say through other characters' perspectives. Let's say from Gunko or Emus, let's say dragons, so we get the details of Shanta's mothers more, things of that sort. But the fact of the matter is that we are getting to see Rocks in action. We're getting to see Garp in action. We're going to see Big Mom and Kaido in action. Whitebeard clashing with Roger. Years before, they would meet again when Oden was a part of Whitebeard's crew. We're seeing some insane, incredible moments. And it would be justifiable on Oda's part to make this the only real substantial God Valley flashback content in the entire series, since it's the first time that we're getting God Valley with all parties revealed. And therein lies one of the core issues about God Valley. In the future, when the anime gets to this moment, they will do a better job on God Valley compared to the manga. And I've said before in a few videos here and there, and I'll say it again, I think that Oda is really leaning on the anime production to fill in a lot of the gaps that he left in various moments in the manga. Which then by default does what? It raises the quality of the anime to where it's either at par or beyond, above the manga's quality, which does suck for a lot of folks that only read the One Piece manga. Because normally with the anime and its slow pacing, normally that's a bad thing. But considering One Piece's speed and what Oda does per chapter and how many things he skips, how many things are done off screen to save time, those opportunities that are left behind by Eiichiro Oda, the anime can fill in, and they have done so in the past, which do expound and do enhance a lot of the character interactions and character moments, and that's not in the manga. On Agate Island, we leave the Shrag crew and company while they're in the middle fight against Seraphim, and then we cut back later, York is already on the ground. In episode 1124, they do fill in these gaps, so it's not just a complete void of what really happened at this point in time, that Oda only gave us one interaction between Luffy and S-Snake. No, what we get is way more substantive compared to the manga. Look where we are in God Valley. God Valley has had pivotal moments with various characters that have all happened off screen. Literally off screen. We are only really 3 chapters or 2 chapters in the God Valley, because Rox and Roger, they don't arrive until 1160, but 1159 is when they introduce the Davy clan, and you see Shaki chained up and so on and so forth. It is whiplash speed. It's one of the few times I think the One Piece fandom wants Oda to go at 30 miles per hour. He's going at Mach 3. He is blazing across his flashback like he's Cavendish, the winds of Ramael. He's just moving at breakneck speeds, and we can't even slow down to really soak in the scenery. We don't necessarily know the details of how Monkey D. Dragon was caught being an op during God Valley. That's just skipped. They just know he is, and they try and kill him. We don't see Garling versus Rocks round 1. We don't see Garling versus Rocks round 2. These pivotal moments that are happening between major characters are whizzing by like it's NASCAR. Vroom, vroom, vroom. They're just moving. And now here comes the most difficult question that we have to answer. Eiichiro Oda, is he undercutting God Valley's quality for the sake of time and efficiency? You can look at, let's say, for example, what happened in recent major flashbacks, like the Oden flashback, where in the Oden flashback, what did he do? He cut the Ashura Doji and Oden fight. He even cut the fight between Whitebeard and Roger in that same flashback. We can go to various flashbacks in the One Piece series, and we can see how Oda does skip a lot of times these major moments and fights. So what Oda is doing right now isn't new, because we've seen him do it before in the past. And the way he does a lot of his fights in general, but you see it more distinctly in flashbacks, is that he will gloss over a lot of the choreography and intricacy of the fight itself, and he'll focus on major moments during the fight. In the same vein in Wild Country, where you had so many fights that are going on, and we didn't get the whole scope of all these fights. But Oda had, let's say, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 chapters focus on pure choreography for some fights, not all fights, just some of them. And that Oda routine is happening again here and now, from hype moment to hype moment to hype moment. But you can kind of tell based on the online discourse where it's more noticeable and distinct during God Valley, because obviously it's God Valley, and people are going to, of course, naturally comb over this with a fine-tooth comb. Nothing left unturned. And so even though this issue has always been there, and how Oda does his pacing, and mainly his flashback pacing, particularly when it involves major bouts and fights, which has been, of course, a successful model, considering just how large the story is anyway, but that model of success is somewhat dampering what should be an easy contender for one of the best flashbacks in the entire series. But right now, again, based on the online discourse and whatnot, I'm not seeing those vibes. Even though God Valley is really, really good right now, God Valley, remember this, is still a part of the overall Elbaf flashback, the Herald flashback. And I get the feeling that initially Oda probably didn't want to put God Valley here, but because of self-imposed time constraints that he has, I think he said, I'm gonna do what I did on Whole Cake Island. I'm going to combine the German arc with the Whole Cake Island arc into one arc. I will combine the content of Elbaf and then put in God Valley, and then here we are. So people are hyped about God Valley, but at the same time, we also want to slow down and get those juicy details, which we're not getting. Because Oda has right now in God Valley a Marineford style arc with post-time skip pace. So even though we've been here for about 3 chapters on God Valley, the amount of content that he skipped could easily fill up 10 chapters. But Oda focusing on that for 10 chapters? Or 5 chapters? Does that sound like post-time skip Oda to you? Post-Whole Cake Island Oda to you? Not to me. Not to me. So what I think Oda will do in the future, at least I hope will do in the future, is that he will expand upon God Valley more through other characters, through those mediums. But this is for the first time like a bulk section of God Valley with rocks revealed and all the prominent characters moving and doing all sorts of gnarly things that are blowing our minds. The elated high that we're feeling ain't gonna last long. We're done with God Valley, maybe in the middle of November, maybe. But we should be here until like March if Oda had, let's say, that pre-time skip pace. But I have seen a lot of fans on my comment section, or let's say on X, let's say on my Discord, I have seen a lot of people say, yo, this is amazing, but can we just slow it down? Suffering from success. Again, I'm gonna say it again. I think the anime will fill in those gaps, a lot of those gaps. Have more fight scene content, have more emotions tied into certain events for certain characters. Let them really linger, right? Really linger. I think the anime will fill in what Oda has left behind. And I get the feeling that Oda is also doing that intentionally, where Oda knows the anime will fill in the gaps that he's left behind, because it's a prime chance, opportunity, real estate that's just wide open. Free reign. Take it, it's yours, and they will take it. At least they should. But let me know your stance on the subject matter at hand. If you enjoy your boys' video content, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click on that bell to join the notification squad. I'm gonna catch you guys and gals on the flip side.
See you. Bye-bye.